I'm your host, Lucy. This is your host, Sarah. Welcome to another episode of Hos On Air. Cheers.
Cheers, hoes. Welcome, hoes. Word.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Woo, I feel like this has been a long day already. Sarah and I were on our way to the studio and encountered a fire. We had to call the fire department, deal with 911 who didn't answer.
This is like on hold.
They put us on hold for so long. I had Sarah look up the nearest fire department, and we called them directly, and they took us to dispatch. And then, what was it, like 25 minutes later, I get a call back on my phone going, "Hi, this is 911. You called emergency 911. Is everything okay?" And I went, "Well, it's nice that you called back."
The whole city could have burnt down by now. But hey, thanks. Thanks for that.
You know, first off, shout out to the people at 911 and dispatch who are actually coming to work. Thank you.
Thank you
for your service and for being there, because, you know, we need you guys, and there aren't enough of you, and I know you're working overtime and you're stretched thin, so thank you. And thank you for the fire department that responded so eloquently and quickly to the fire. They were so sweet. They were so nice.
They were, and I'm still curious what the deal was with that, because there were people around it.
So there was a brush fire. It was like a 2-acre lot right next to a hotel, and what was that? A gas station or something?
A lot.
And there was a brush fire. It was pretty noticeable all the way from the freeway. So we got off. We kind of drove around, and I'm on hold with 911, and we see a bunch of people standing around the fire
with their cell phones.
No,
nobody's doing anything.
One was eating an apple. One was peeling an orange. Like, there was nothing going on. I'm going, there's a fire, people. We're in the middle of the desert.
And they were like,
it's a brush fire.
Oh my
like,
God,
you
wow.
don't just sit there and watch it. You call somebody.
You know.
So what the funny thing was, so I called when we finally got on with dispatch. Dispatch was like, "Oh, we don't have a record of this. Let me transfer you over to the local fire department dispatch." And they did. I think I got transferred 3 times, and they were like, "Oh, thank you for letting us know. We're sending somebody right out." They took my number. And then 25 minutes later, 911 calls me back, and I'm going, "Well, that could have taken down a building at this point." I mean, I'm grateful that they called back. Thank you. But you know, it's a problem. I know Michael had an emergency in New Orleans, a year and a half ago. I could not get 911 on the phone. I called 3 times. They hung up on me 3 times.
Rude.
It's not, they didn't mean to. It just disconnected 3 times. And that just goes to show, if you're truly in an emergency, be on hold. You're going to be on hold. This is a big deal.
To know about. Yeah.
So if you are somebody looking for a job that's not looking for a career at the moment, consider being a 911 operator, because we need people, clearly.
And thank you, Ho, for being Ho of the day, ladies and gentlemen. What a good Samaritan.
Thank you.
Hoeing out there, solving crimes, fires.
Yeah.
Ho.
I'm the ultimate crime solver, Aaron. Ho. You might want to replace your show.
To you. to you. Well, solve this for me. I got one. And this is a true story.
I'm in.
Okay.
What you got?
It's a short story. I would like to tell you all a story. So my friend receives a text message from, this guy isn't even her official boyfriend, okay? This is just someone that, you know, they have a proper snogging every now and then when it's quite convenient. They don't even, you know, necessarily live in the same town. So I
feel like this is a movie plot.
Oh, no, this is just a simple true story.
Okay.
So, you know, he had been drinking a little extra, which was why she wasn't too into the whole thing. It was just more trouble than it was worth. So then she receives a text one day.
Oh, dear.
It says, sex. Sexy. I need helps.
Wait, this is all in one text?
One text.
Not like...
First line, sex. Next line, sexy.
Were these coming in separately?
Yes.
Okay, so sex, no response. Then came sexy, no response. Then came
I need helps.
Helps with an S?
Yes. Now,
was there a response after that?
There's nothing after that. That's when she decided she can't make this shit up, and she sent it to me because she knows I like shit like that.
Oh my God.
What would you have done with that? Because she had no idea what was going on, and then I'm going to tell you the situation. Sex. Sexy. I need helps. That's my favorite
I
part.
would have
need helps.
responded with whorehouse. Welcome to Vegas.
He wasn't in Vegas.
Welcome to
Whorehouse.
Pahrump. I don't know. Actually, whorehouses are not legal in Vegas. They are legal in Pahrump. So go to Pahrump. But we do have our share of entertainers in Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
You see them on the street. Do you know how to spot them?
they wear certain attire.
It's not just the attire, because we're in Vegas, so anything goes. You see a lot of like scandalous attire. But okay, so first off, yes, it's the attire. They're usually wearing spiked heels, some sort of stocking fishnet thing going on, very, very short shorts or mini skirt, a scandalous top. But the key
I'm getting fresh.
is the purse.
This is how you can tell a sex operator from the purse?
Not a sex operator, a prostitute. So
What's the difference, Luz?
a sex operator, you don't see her. She's on the phone or texting.
Oh.
A prostitute is somebody actually on the corner of Sunset and
They're not hiding behind a screen.
exactly. They're showing their stuff. But the way to know them is anybody that is dressed scandalously and just strolling the boulevard because they feel anything goes in Vegas typically is holding onto a backpack or an actual purse, because they're carrying their wallet, their phone, their makeup, like all the things. All the things, right? You know.
You
You
need a
carry a
towel.
freaking bag.
You might need a pillow.
Yeah, you might need whatever.
pashmina.
So women in general typically have pretty large purses.
Yep.
Prostitutes carry a teeny weeny little purse, like little flat, not to be confused with, a formal night out purse, but about that size, where you have just like enough for your lipstick, a condom, and your phone
Only
for 911.
Only one condom.
There might be a few in there. I don't know.
You're making this purse sound like it would really be taking up a
it's
lot of
really
space.
tiny. So if you see a girl dressed scandalously and she's just walking down the boulevard by herself and she's got a teeny little tiny skirt and she's working her butt, you know,
Sounds like a lot of energy.
you know what she's soliciting. And the thing is I feel like it is one condom. I feel like, and I don't know this for a fact, maybe you ladies can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like her pimp gives her one, maybe two, and when she's done with her job, she's got to go turn in her money and she gets another.
So in other words, don't turn in your money, you don't get another condom.
Yeah, and then you're pregnant, and then that happens.
Well, I don't even know where to go with
Why
that.
can't I hear you? Why can't I hear her?
I don't know. Why were we talking about that again?
I don't know.
Does anyone know what's going on? Comments.
I don't see any comments. Oh,
Comments.
that's because
happening?
I don't carry a big purse, if any. I don't know who said that because it's hidden.
It's hidden from us.
But yeah, so when I first moved to Vegas and I was younger, I used to carry a Stewie wallet,
Stewie.
from
Mom,
American Dad.
Can you take me to
Had
Baby Gap?
Stewie. Yeah.
I want to
thank you,
dress
Erin.
like a small douche.
Sissy, yes, that's because I don't carry a big purse, if any. Yeah, Sissy, that was me too. When I first moved to Vegas, I would carry this little wallet, and it just I didn't even carry cash. I had my ID. I had a couple of credit cards, one that I knew worked and one that could work if it didn't bounce, right? But that was my preferred one, so I always had two in there. I had a couple of bucks for valet, usually, in there.
You got to keep valet.
Yeah, and my lipstick is the, doesn't come off one. So I put that on at home and I'm out. So not to be confused though, like this is like a teeny wallet that I would keep in my back pocket. My other back pocket had my phone, and that was it. And we're actually talking about like these are like the purses, right? So it has
That's huge. That's like a big ass hobo bag compared to the
they're
hoe purse.
thin and then and they're usually like crisscross.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you got to wear them crisscross. Oh, look who all is joined. Auntie
Yeah.
is joined. Will you?
We have a lot of followers today. Thank you.
Yeah, so would you acknowledge them, please? While
Thanks, Jan.
I can't read all of that.
Around the
from here.
world, Zam. I like that one. So it's a thing. Like, you can identify who these people are just by that. Now, that's not for sure for all,
Right.
obviously, but chances are, if you're on Sahara and you are by yourself, walking, strutting in spiked heels, fishnets, and booty shorts that show off half your cheeks, and a midriff, chances are, if your purse is this small, you're for hire.
Fair enough. We'll keep that in mind. You're for hire.
Yes, Kimberly.
Who else is?
Welcome to Vegas. Yes, you should check this out. Be mindful, ask for the rate first. What? I'm just being honest.
It's true. It's out there. I wasn't trying. I was just driving down Karen, and that's when I saw the first shift going out. I mean, it was still daylight.
Oh no, they go 24 hours. They take Sections. If
Yeah,
if you're
that's
really
what they
good
mean when they say get off my corner.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, hang on. I have something that I want to. Was I going somewhere with? Does anyone remember? Was I going somewhere with something?
We have user 4736. I'm not going to even say the whole thing. That is a really long username. You need to change that. But what is this about? The show is about nothing.
Absolutely. We
Absolutely
talk about,
nothing.
I'd give them a little more than that.
It's
we
life.
Just talk about
we talk
stupid
about
stuff.
stupid life. Anything to make us laugh. So if you're looking for something amusing and you just want to giggle at some stuff and participate, that's what we're about. We don't take this seriously. This is just,
We don't even remember what we talked about on the last show.
What?
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah. What? What's your name? And
Raquel says you might be for hire if you're a woman wearing shorts that crawl up your arse and are hanging out in the Lowe's parking lot. No, honey, those are, I have to correct you. Those are not, well, they are for hire, but not the kind of for hire that you're thinking. Those for hire people are to clean up your backyard.
Molly is here. I see Warren is here. User 989.
Hey, I appreciate those. I need
is
those.
here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So, Luz, is this a true statement for you? Mm-hmm. Just for you.
I'm open.
I can find a connection with anyone, and by connection, we mean something to talk about. Do you feel that you could just be in any situation, slide in, talk to just somebody that's around you, just any restaurants, just wherever you're out and about in public, and have something to say?
No.
No. No.
No.
No, 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 no. All right. And
Thanks, Go Live Vegas. We love you too.
He's biased. Denise Johnston has joined. Hello,
No,
Tiffany.
I don't
Thank
feel
you for
that
being
way.
here.
I don't feel that way. What was the question?
You already answered. Because the reason I'm asking is the idea that, let's see, I even put down the way that I wanted to phrase it. Let me find this, because it involves something that we were discussing earlier.
Raquel, I don't think hookers is politically correct.
They don't like the term hookers anymore?
I don't know.
Is that
But I feel like politically correct would be something like women of the night.
See, now that sounds more elegant.
Right, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that sounds elegant. So you know how
Men
earlier,
of the night. I don't know. Well, I'm not being biased.
Well, we were discussing earlier, though, the whole idea of everyone hiding behind a screen, and this is why they can't carry on a conversation, and this is for all ages that can't. So it's interesting to me, the paradox between everyone hiding behind a screen, yet if you look up topics like I do, one of the main topics on the screen is how to have a proper conversation in person.
Well, I'm curious. Educate me.
Well, I don't know that there's much more to say about it, except that there are people all over the internet behind a screen talking about how to not be behind a screen and going, what? Mariah, what? It's
They're still talking about the hookers at Lowe's on Fremont.
Mariah, why do you know about that? Oh my gosh. So where I'm going with this is, here's my point. We have a hard time, by the way, whoever was asking, stressing our point on this show, because we have to remember to come back to it. No one cares anyway. It's just interesting to me that nobody can have a conversation Thus, we've been talking about how nobody knows how to socialize themselves. And on YouTube now, some of the topics that get the most hits are how to have a conversation in person, how to go out and function in person in society. How is that?
How is that, Sarah?
How is it?
What do I
don't know.
do?
But they are saying common sense. Like we were talking about the life coaches,
Yeah.
the reason that they have jobs is telling people how to talk to each other, just to have a conversation. So you have people from 30 years old and younger, sometimes a little older, coaching their peers on how to get off your phone, which, by the way, I also looked up. What are the most obvious signs that you aren't the smartest person? Number one, going like this all the time in public. You know, like everybody else around you is walking around or something and you're still sitting there doing this and you're not looking something up, or, you know, it's just what you do. It's your go-to. It's like it's like your whoopee when you're out in public. Oh, I don't want to look. I don't want to make eye contact. I don't want to actually interact and be present. So I'm going to be right here. The cell phone is the whoopee, and there are many shows that discuss this. And I was encouraged by that. I was, that at least people that were raised with, as you aptly pointed out, a screen in front of their face, they are realizing that it is no replacement for a conversation, and they know that it is.
So I'm curious,
required.
Was there like a top 5 things to do, or like was there a step by step?
Yeah,
Erin, we have a crash notice, just so you know. Rena, thank you. Social media make people. Many people don't even use full words these days. Well, yeah, that's a big problem too. Yeah.
I don't know all of these abbreviations. So then, you know, I'm the one.
WTF, Sarah.
Well, yeah, and I can't even think of one right now.
Aww.
Like, IDK.
IDK, indeed. Yeah, you
If
guys
you
don't
let me
worry about
out,
offending us.
Mariah.
Nobody is offended.
Right,
Like
I'm
literally,
pretty sure you can
HOs
carry
On Air.
a conversation.
You have to be, you know, a certain mindset to even tune into this show. So don't worry about offending anybody.
This is true. This is true. And Mariah, no, I was not talking about you. I'm pretty sure she can hold a conversation, but her generation. What's encouraging though is that people in the 30s generation, 30s and younger, are recognizing. So they are the ones actually
but what is being said about how to? I'm actually curious.
okay.
Like what?
Number one, make eye contact. Make eye contact. People, you see the eye. Nobody is
Stop looking at me.
At each other. Well, yeah, because everybody's going to get offended. Are you looking at me saying these words? That's what you're saying with your eyes. You know, you can't.
Are you hitting on me?
Always.
Stop looking at me. I have lipstick on my teeth.
Hey, baby.
Stop looking at my boobs. I'm up here.
What? I'm just saying that was number one, eye contact.
Okay.
Then they said, actually have, this is what they want people to do. They want people to actually have things of interest, stories, anecdotes. They want people to cultivate some and tell them.
So make some flashcards
in person. Because people evidently aren't even able to go out and have an experience. And
so yesterday when I was online, I was looking at Facebook and
oh my yeah, exactly. And
there was this ad. You should see it. Here, let me pull it up. Hang on.
Oh yeah, so that we can all be right here. But I just thought, it's the first time I've seen the paradox of what you pointed out, that nobody has any social skills anymore. And then there are videos about how to have social skills from the place that we don't have social skills because of.
Right.
And by we, I mean them.
Well, it's nice that they're acknowledging the fact that that problem exists and are trying to help coach people out of that situation. Don't go back to that conversation because it hasn't happened yet.
What I'm wondering too, I've noticed with youngsters, and by youngsters I mean Generation Z, that they have no goals to really fix this. You know, some of them will complain about not having friends, but none of them that I have spoken to necessarily have a goal to be married. None of them are really
well, none of them are
kids.
goal-oriented, period. So you can't expect them to be goal-oriented about one thing and not another.
Well, not so much that marriage and a kid is a goal, because you can do that just in the backseat
No,
of
but
your car
having a
without
job
even
that can
trying.
support you, a goal of being out of your parents' house, a goal of,
Well,
living on your own comfortably.
And that's Oh, you just bring up, see, I can never stick with where I wanted
I'm
to go because
sorry.
you bring up different topics. And
I never know what you're going to talk about, so it spurs up a whole lot of things for me.
well, so now I have to talk about the way that parents of my generation are kind of told by society, you can't just kick your kids out, especially if they're respectful.
Why not?
And doing so. Exactly.
I was kicked out.
But because now you're looked at as, oh, I don't know, some sort of Nazi parent. Like, get out of my house.
Oh, come
You're
on.
kicking them out.
I came here from another country, not knowing the language, had to establish myself, learn the language, learn the culture, find friends. And then I was 18 and I had to go to college and my parents were like, bye. And I said, but college costs money. And they're like, well, we didn't save up for that. We didn't know that.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
No.
And I did. And I figured it the fuck out because what do? You fucking problem solve.
It's a different time.
Not that I
And-
don't love my parents. They did an
Love.
amazing job raising
love.
me, and I appreciate everything they did. They just didn't know, in all honesty. And I wasn't willing to not have a life because somebody didn't know something. So I figured it the fuck out.
All of these people are willing to.
And I paid for my own college, thank you very much.
Of course you
I
did.
worked 3 jobs while in college and paid off my $60,000 freaking student loan for musical theater. I'm just saying, for all of those people expecting to have their education paid for, I have a problem with that because I paid for my own, okay?
And that's another thing.
And it's not like nobody's capable of paying for their own.
well,
I actually had somebody tell me that their daughter went through college and now owes $38,000 and she's never going to pay that off.
that's what life is all about.
What?
Oh, yeah.
How do you not? That's not even the cost of a brand new car. Like, you have to put it into perspective, people. My car,
Thank you, Yum Yum.
yeah.
Yum
like,
Yum's very opinionated.
Literally, like, think about how much you pay for a brand new car. Think about how much you pay for a house. Think about how much you pay for a hospital bill. And then talk to me about your $38,000 puny little bill for a college education.
What was, I don't
And you don't
disagree.
have to go to college, by the way. That's not mandatory. I also got a certification, a vocational degree that I got a what do you call that? Scholarship for. So I
like
only
that. Oh,
I only
scholarship.
paid a couple of $1,000 for that. So that was in my back pocket, right? These are all options. You're not required to go to college. And so requiring somebody to pay for your choice to go to college is offensive to me.
You
Ask
should
me
be-
how I really feel.
You should be on a poster. You should be the poster
Yeah.
for
Pay for your
pay
decisions,
for your
people.
own shit. Here's oh look
I know, I'm
everybody's
losing people.
Can you can you read it? Let's
Who do we
acknowledge our
think
people.
we are,
I
Joy?
I see that Chrissy
I
is
relate
here
to
and
that.
Chris 800 is here and
Okay,
Michelle
all right,
71
all right,
is
moving
here.
on, moving on.
I'm just saying thank you for being here, people.
Yeah.
Okay, where I was going with that is that parents now, though, what you're not taking into consideration is that they are considered deadbeats for not
Well, they're being
able
bullied.
by society.
They're being
You know?
bullied in a society where bullying is frowned upon. Isn't that funny?
The paradoxes
Yeah.
are definitely plentiful and vast, but that doesn't.
Hi, Marsha. Welcome to the show.
Marsha.
I will not watch what I'm saying
Marsha.
because I'm highly opinionated, as you know, which is
Marsha.
why you love me.
Marcia, some hoe I know gave me these fabulous earrings.
Yeah.
Can you see them? Thank you.
Yeah.
Love them. Now, where was I going with all of that? It's just that it has been brought to my attention that this college education thing, not everyone knows this yet, is about as helpful as a warm bucket of hamster vomit.
Oh, yeah. College doesn't get you anywhere
co-
unless you're going specifically. Now, I will defend if you are going specifically for a law degree or a doctor, to become a doctor or a neurosurgeon or, don't take a vocational, please. I don't want to end up in a surgery with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
Hey.
Like, those are valid. Those are very valid degrees.
Here, thanks.
Okay, those are very valid degrees. What I'm talking about is like me. I went to frickin' college for musical theater. I went to college for entertainment. I don't expect somebody else to pay for that. If you're going for an art degree or a liberal arts or anything having to do with pretty things, pay for it yourself, people. And then I went for holistic health, also paid for it myself. My point is that America is beautiful. You can be and do anything you want to be. This is why immigrants flock here. I speak from first person, okay? So, Brock, how do I get on between two Karens? Oh, welcome. Yeah, not Karens, actual living beings, but Anyway, so you can't really argue my stance until you've lived my stance, and that's kind of the deal.
Between two Karens, is that like between two ferns? That's what it reminded me of. Between two ferns, is that?
I have two things to say. I love my country. I love living here. I love immigrating here, and I love the fact that America grants me two things: the freedom of speech and the freedom of choice. Unlike a lot of countries in the world, and I don't care who you are, until you've lived in a country, you don't get to preach me anything else, because I've lived in other countries, okay? So until you do that, you don't get to put me down. And I'm just saying that the freedom of choice is beautiful because you can choose to be anything. You can choose to go to college. You can choose to go to university. You can choose to be any profession you want to. Do you know there are countries out there that get to decide what you become for you without your input? There are countries that will tell you, you are going to be an accountant. You are going to be a doctor. You are going to be whatever, because we don't have enough of those in this country and we need to fill a void. Do you realize that, people? You don't have a choice in a lot of countries and you are blessed to be here. So take advantage of it and stop fucking bitching. That's all I'm saying.
Praise the Lord. Well said.
Hallelujah.
Well said. Now, let's talk about how my mom's client put her hand on his schlong.
Let's do that.
The
freedom of choice.
Because the freedom of choice, as you see, and isn't that a nice segue?
That's a great segue.
America.
Yes.
America, where you can take someone's hand and put it on your schlong. Now, she was a bit surprised by this. Let me illustrate for everyone the situation. So, my mom is a hairstylist. And there was a situation where she'd had this client for years, many, many years. And one of these evenings, he was the last client of the day. They were walking out to the parking lot. She's actually in her car with the window down. He's supposed to be leaving. But before he does, for some reason, her hand was outside the window, I guess, like you would do before you're
right.
going. He takes it and puts it on a schlong.
Wow.
Yeah. What would you do? Like, it just came out of the blue.
Yeah.
How does one respond to that here in America?
Oh God. Yeah. No, I'd pull a gun. But I get what you're saying, because my real life experience of that is I actually do have a friend. Actually, we have a mutual friend that had a client, and she's in the health field, and she was giving her client a treatment.
Oh dear.
And he was the last of the day, and he ended up not having a ride home or something. And this is somebody that has been seeing her for years. She's known this guy, had no threat whatsoever, offered him a ride home. He got in her car and proceeded to accost her.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, you just never know. I think that that brings up a plethora of subjects to discuss.
Which we try to not be too serious here on HOs On Air.
But if it were me, like first of all,
you'd
if my hand were on the window and, like rolled down window, and I'm in my car and then that happened, there would be a punch. There would be discomfort on his end in some way.
It was the kind of situation where that wouldn't have been her anyway. She didn't feel actually threatened. She knew that he was just letting.
No, she didn't feel threatened.
Yeah.
She felt offended.
Well, she more felt like, is this actually happening? You have to have that go through your head first before you're offended. And then later on, she's like, it was just so confusing. And then I see these Generation Z people coming up like, yeah, you think you want to do something about that? Like, it just brought up the whole idea that, and this isn't a new topic, but that we are so used to a lot of people as women so used to being hit on in every situation,
Right.
that when it happens completely inappropriately
And out of the blue.
did this actually happen? And what I like about the younger generation coming in is that they're like, nope. There's,
Well, I concur with the nope mentality, but I also can identify that we don't respond as quickly as we would like. And that means essentially if something happens to you, you don't always respond the way you think you will.
Oh, no.
And then, some of you may relate with this. You spend the next 2 or 3 days reliving that moment and identifying the ways that you could have handled that and the ways that you would have liked to handle that. But you didn't, right? And sometimes you're angry at yourself going, what the hell? Why didn't I do something about that? Why didn't I say this? Or why didn't I do this? And it's because we don't actually prepare ourselves for the unexpected. So,
well, and why would we? It's unexpected.
It is unexpected, and you can't fault yourself. Like if you're sharing that story with somebody, they go, well, why didn't you do this? Because if the roles were reversed, you wouldn't have done any better, is the reality. Because nobody is prepared to, unless you're police or you are trained to anticipate the unexpected, you don't respond the way you think you will.
You don't. But in this particular situation, and I'm not saying that this way, it's more of a humorous situation.
It is a humorous situation. Like,
and
look
that's
at
where
my
I wanted
initial
to go
instinct, right?
Yeah,
my initial instinct, I'll pull out my gun.
Gun.
But the reality of it is if I was in that moment, I'd probably be dumbfounded, staring at him like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?"
Yeah,
like
she knew that he wasn't gonna, do. But and then, it's the kind of thing where I was like when she told me the story, I laughed my ass off.
Well,
because it wasn't about.
Yes, Rena, we've been conditioned to not respond. That is very accurate. And it's only the people that take the time to retrain themselves that actually have a decent chance of responding in the way they feel is appropriate for themselves. But it's minimal. It really is minimal. Like, think about how you would respond in the event of an emergency. Like, say, I had, and ironically enough, it was my hairdresser. She was held at gunpoint in public, in broad daylight, next to a movie theater with a bunch of people, and had her car stolen in front of her at gunpoint. She was on her knees. She was pregnant. She was with a friend. 2 people targeted, both on their knees. They stole her purse, her phone, and her car, broad daylight.
Yep.
Now, she relayed this story to me later and said, I didn't know that I would feel that way and I would respond that way. Like, I thought in my mind that I would respond significantly differently. I thought I acted with a persona that I wasn't a target.
Right.
And these people not only targeted her, but had her get down on her knees, pregnant, with her friend, and stole everything from her, including her car. So you just never know, right? No. I mean, you can train as much as you want, but at the end of the day, how fast are your reflexes? And then, have you been drinking? And then, who else is in your party? Are you aware of your surroundings, right? So there's all of that.
Well, where I was going with it, though, is I just thought that it was really nice that my mom is still bringing in attention. Now, granted, that wasn't the kind of attention she wanted, but when she told me the story, it was really funny.
Was she flattered by it, or was she disgusted by it?
Neither. It was more like, really? What really?
Yeah. What prompted you to think that was okay?
That we were going, this direction.
And it's worse when it's somebody and that person clearly had inclinations of a different nature than she did.
So, it was a source of a lot of amusement for us. We didn't go into that because we knew that he was harmless. Where I was going, though, isn't it nice that, well, I don't know if it's nice, but isn't it interesting? This is someone who hasn't been hiding behind a screen his whole life.
Yeah.
This is someone who would have customarily, for his age group, the polish to do better than that.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
And
But he didn't. So I was more wanting to go into the...
So how did she respond? I'm curious. What did she do in that moment?
She simply pulled back. She was already in her car, so that made it real easy for her to be like, and have a good night. And off she went.
Okay.
And I think that they even, still had, professional business to tend to,
Now,
and it was just swept under the
hypothetically
rug.
speaking, I'm curious to know, and maybe some of our male viewers can answer this. Yes, Rena, it is forced sexual content, but harmless in the respect of he wasn't trying to attack her. He was trying to be suggestive.
He was actually
which was
trying
poor form.
Very poor form. Thanks
Poor
for
form.
remembering. It was poor form, but he did not make her feel that he would hurt her.
But here's my question for the gentleman watching. If the roles were reversed, and the man was sitting behind the wheel of a car with his window down, with the hand on the window, and the girl walked up, let's say in a skirt, and took his hand and put it up her skirt, what do you think would have happened?
Sex. Lots of it.
In the back seat?
Heaps of
Heaps
fornication.
Of sex.
Yes.
So if the female initiated it. Now, but see, you and I come from a generation where that is our initial response. But in today's generation, do you think that would have happened?
The sex? In what generation?
Do you think, well, we're in the young generation today, everybody's holding off on sex. Everybody's weary of sex. Everybody's like taking their time to pick out the person that they're going to have sex with. So if that was initiated, maybe this is a deeper question. Okay, but if it was initiated with not our generation, but their generation, do you feel that it would also have translated into sex, or would it have been considered assault on the opposite sex?
You know what? That could go either way. It's a very unstable, kind of sketchy.
Would have to depend on the person.
It depends on the person, their relationship.
But isn't it funny how that is? Because our generation, right? If that had happened and the roles were reversed, like, yeah, the woman is suggesting I'm open to sex, and the guy would have just absolutely opened the door, opened the back door. It would have been done. Lots of sex.
It's true. I'm finding that in general, men are not as slutty as they would like to have us believe.
Yeah, they're not as slutty.
And what do you think is the reason for that? What is your take on that?
I think that part of it has to do with the recent not understanding your role as a male or female. I think that has a lot to do with it, actually. I'm no professional, but that's just my observation.
So you would another way to put that be that since nobody knows their role, that they don't make the move to get that to happen?
Well, I think my point is that in my generation, and I believe in your generation, roles were defined for us. So if you were a female, this is what you knew you had to do. You were brought up that way. Your parents taught you to cook or clean or do whatever to fulfill that role and make sure that you knew that that was your role, and vice versa. Men were taught to fix cars and do manly things. And so we come from a generation where the roles were not only defined, but our parents taught us what those roles were so that we were prepared when we were in adulthood. Now everything is equal playing field. So while it's okay to not have a role identified for you in that respect, when you get into a relationship with somebody, I think the biggest downfall in relationships right now is that you don't take the time to identify what it is you expect of the other person. It doesn't matter what gender they are.
No.
If you're in a relationship and in your mind you're going, I want my partner to be able to fix the cars and handle the grease and maintain the house, and I want to take care of the cooking, and I want, because this is what I'm good at and this is what I'm not good at, and you don't verbalize it, you can't expect that person to know their role. And so you end up in a dysfunctional relationship because nobody really knows, and nobody's been brought up to fulfill anything. They haven't been given the tools. I feel like this is just my opinion and my observation, but this is what I see in society today, is that men, whether they are wanting to be manly or not, don't understand what females want from them or what their partners want from them. because it's not said. It's almost like it's not allowed to be said, and I don't understand that.
Well, I think
why is it not okay to state, hey, I suck at cooking. I need a partner that can cook, or I need a partner that's okay with me sucking at cooking and is okay going out all the time.
Okay,
right?
sucking at cooking.
Yeah. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, appreciate
Thank
that.
you. It's the kind of thing, too, though, it's sort of exciting because since nobody knows what is going on, it gives us the opportunity to reset.
To define it.
Yeah, reset. So anyone who doesn't like these stereotypes, what's coming up is a time where you can decide for yourself and think for yourself. Marsha, what'd she say?
We're a little behind on the Facebook posts. She says, I truly believe my son would have been horrified if he had been accosted like that. So
accosted,
going back to what our previous conversation about, the woman sticking a man's hand up. Yeah, so we're past that, but it just came up.
We got Marsha, thank you. Of course, it's so nice. Not every guy's a whore. Not every guy's a whore.
True,
we can't,
but it's role definition. I
is.
feel like if you don't know what you're supposed to be contributing to the relationship, then by general default, it's going to be a failed relationship.
Well, it's really an exciting time, and I'm going to be encouraging all of the youngsters that I know, and anybody who doesn't feel comfortable actually in talking about what it is they want. Like, you just nailed it. If everybody just came to the table with what you just said, hey, I don't cook, do you? Would it be a problem for you if I didn't? Like, what everybody needs to come with their side, and it really hasn't ever been different than that since the 80s. People don't know this, but Eddie Murphy is actually a relationship coach. In my opinion, his stand-up routine, raw. Yeah. He gets into how basically what he says is you need to go and you need to find somebody just as fucked up as you are and you need to settle down together.
Yeah.
That's how he put it, and I don't disagree, and it really has not changed.
No, it hasn't. But talking about it has.
In what way?
Well, just in the way that I just mentioned.
Oh, yeah, like people actually doing that, though. Like, he had said it, but that doesn't mean that everyone had done it. And
well, because he comes from our era too.
Right.
He was programmed by his family to be a certain person in a relationship setting when he grew up. Much like if there were sisters or daughters or whatever, they were brought up to deliver a certain a criteria of things in a relationship once they grew up. We're past that now. The new generations don't define that. The new parents aren't preparing their kids for any of that because they're letting them choose at a very early age as to what they want and don't want, which is both great and a setback for them. Because they get to have the freedom of choice in their personal lives, but they're also not coming into adulthood with a basic set of skills, and they have to figure that out for themselves.
Skillless.
So it's not, they're almost being a little bit handicapped in that department because they're going into adult relationships not knowing basic things that we were taught at the age of 5. Whether we chose to do them or not is another topic.
Yeah, but we did have a template.
We had a template. So the new generation doesn't have that template, and they're getting to pick and choose, and their template is much more colorful than ours ever was. But that also makes it a challenge for them to find a partner because they are so a broad spectrum as opposed to us where we were so, fine-tuned that it's going to take them a while to find somebody that fits all those puzzle pieces to complement them. And that's why I'm saying it's very important to identify what it is that you are lacking, what your strong suits are, what your weaknesses are in a relationship, and go in full force with, this is me, this is what I'm looking for. Are you okay with that? Because if you don't identify that in a relationship and you just go in blind with this broad spectrum of tools, and then this other person has this broad spectrum of tools, at some point very soon on in the relationship, you're going to find that you're not compatible.
At least they find out sooner. I don't know. Some people don't find that out for sure for a good decade. But what I like is the idea that even though everyone is hiding behind a screen, they're going to have to step up.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to get out from behind their screen. So what I'm delighted to just sort of watch with the template of society now
exactly,
is
Rena.
when people are going to Absolutely.
Self-awareness and communication are key. Yeah, that's my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Invisible joined. I can barely read. I just want to acknowledge the TikTok viewers. Thank you so much for being here. But where I was going with that is since everyone is hiding behind this screen, if you want something actually with someone, you no longer have that luxury. So when you get out behind it, it's nice that there are videos out there about when you're ready for that. It's sort of like everybody's like hibernating tortoises.
So it's almost like you don't have to go to college. You just go on YouTube.
That's it. Look, she nailed it.
Just please, if you want to be a doctor, don't get your education off YouTube, okay? Please.
Well, a few things you might want to go in for some more formal education. Yeah. But as far as living in society today, I don't feel that we do our youngsters a service by yanking away the screen, because that is absolutely something that they all need to learn to navigate. Do any youngsters have anything to say about that?
Yeah.
You know, you do need to know how to navigate this arena where nobody is filtered in what they're saying, because they know they don't have to take the consequences of that.
That's true.
So it does put them at a social disadvantage when they're actually getting out there. And I think as a result, and not that I care what I think, I'll forget about this in an hour, but in this moment, I'm thinking the population could definitely take a decrease, because people are far too lazy.
Yeah.
And they figure they can do it later. So maybe within the next 10 years of the childbearing years of the Gen Zers, they're not going to be snogging. No, they're going to be, because, you know, in order to do that, you got to get out from behind the screen.
Yeah.
And
do
so
physical activity.
Yeah. And like actually see people and hey, and you were asking, you know, what else did these people in their videos say? So you got your eye contact.
Yeah.
You got your, you know, what was the second one? I want to try and do it without looking at my notes. That would be like a real accomplishment for me, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, while you're looking at your notes, I'm going to interject by saying,
please,
you know, it's not that Sarah and I are all knowing in this department, because we're not.
We don't know anything. We know the show isn't about knowing stuff. We're just shooting.
It's observation, right? So we come from a generation where we grew up with no technology and the start of technology, like computers. And, you know, we still had phones that hung on walls with the
cords.
Cord. And then I had in my teens, when I learned to drive, I had a car phone in my car. It was like the very first of the car phones that still had the cord, and it was like a thing. It was a big old thing you had to hang on to, right?
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So we had the benefit and also the disadvantage, but a benefit of growing up in a generation where technology evolved with us, and we were forced to learn it and have it be introduced into our world from black and white TVs, tiny little things like 32-inch was like, oh my God, you have a 32-inch TV. That's huge.
Oh my
God. So we grew up from that into what we have today and have evolved in using that technology to today. Now, I can't speak for you, but I'm going to speak for me to say that at this point in my life, technology has surpassed me and my ability to keep up with it. Like I used to, growing up, you know, you'd soak in the new stuff, you'd take it. You know, we had friends and you'd play games and you'd do all this stuff together. So I grew up with a huge group of people and a huge group of friends that we all were learning this stuff together. Now for me, I'm at the point now where technology has gotten more advanced than I'm willing to spend time learning. It's just gotten past me.
You don't want to take a class?
Well, like we're on TikTok and we're on Facebook and we're on all these places, which is fine. Social media is great. But it's gotten so complicated with all the freaking filters and all the hashtags and all the things that you spend 20 minutes setting up your post before it even goes up. Like, I don't have time for that, people. I really don't. Like, I don't want to spend my life. I don't want to spend that half hour posting something on social media that at the end of the day is insignificant because those people are not truly connected to me.
They are not your friends.
They are not my
That
friends.
is what we
They
were
are
talking
my
about.
acquaintances. They are people that follow me. They are people that I respect and love, but not like I love and respect you because you're in my everyday life, right? So
You are the wind beneath my wings, ho.
So it is fascinating to watch a generation that is born into technology, and they are not only living with the technology, but they are defining where it goes, which is something that our generation does not do, right? Our generation has to keep up with it.
They're trying to define where it goes, but does it really? I don't see them having anything of substance because of this. Oh my God, I have 1,000 followers and I need to post what I'm, oh my God, let me take a selfie.
But that is a real thing, is that they have defined what technology looks like. Now, the people that have actually aren't
they have real friends,
the selfie people, but the people that are diving into technology as their profession are defining where technology is going from here on out. And at some point, we will hit the singularity. At some point, AI will have its own mind, and it will make decisions for itself, and you will watch mankind digress in a big way.
We won't be able to have this show, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm enjoying my generation because I got to have a little bit of it all, I feel like.
You know what? That is a good point. We did get to have a little bit of, and the people who didn't get to have it, they don't care.
They don't.
Because it doesn't matter. And you know, that takes away from what I wanted to discuss about technology.
Yeah, which is point number 2. So eye contact.
Yeah.
And
well, no, I'm looking up notes, so there's an actual reason for me to be looking
at my phone. How many points are there?
Because I have to be looking at my phone.
How many points are there?
Oh, no, this was a new one. But it's gone because the phone went off, and I don't know how to get it back because I'm not technologically.
This is what happens every time.
I'm not technologically savvy.
Sarah brings in a subject I don't know about, and then I go off on a complete tangent and interrupt her whole top 5.
Yeah.
And then our time's up.
Well, it is almost up. And you know what? Once again, we nailed it. We didn't get to the bottom of anything. And I hope that everyone feels just as empty and
pretty sure we offended a few people. We cursed. TikTok probably shut us down. I don't know.
As empty and meaningless as we endeavor to be here on HOs On Air.
Okay, but we have a few minutes. So let's go back to a functional relationship, like off the phone. What does it look like to actually have a relationship with somebody today? What is that defined as based on your research? Number 1 was putting the phone down and making eye contact. What was number 2?
I forgot, but but I do remember that it was basic common sense. Get some anecdotes. That was number 2.
Anecdotes. Yes, you did say that.
How to tell an actual story, because apparently people in life now, no one knows how to go out and have an experience and come back and relay it in person to an actual person. Yeah. Like right now.
In a functional way.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way where you're not stalking somebody.
So that was number 2.
That was number 2.
What was number 3?
Number 3, I don't remember at this point because I never, I have
Why don't
notes.
you write this stuff down?
It's in here, but now
Are you having a geriatric moment?
Now I'm going to look like a loser for being on the phone finding it.
You remember when my generation used to say we're having a brain fart?
Well, no. I have those all the time. That really wouldn't distinguish it from any other moment.
Got it.
Does
anybody else have brain farts out there?
There's that.
Like, that you don't come back from?
Get some anecdotes, and you need to be able to actually go out. This is something that they actually had to list. You don't get to do these things and still hide behind your screen, because then they saw that, these life coaches, their clients are telling stories on social media. No! Go out.
Well, and you have your FaceTime and your Zoom.
But the fact that they actually had to be told that doesn't count is absolutely frightening to me.
Yeah.
Now I need a moment.
Take a
Talk
moment.
amongst yourselves. I mean, did you hear what I just said? Yeah. They have to actually be told that telling a story behind a screen doesn't count.
Well, going out is a real deal. I mean, I actually have a prediction. I don't know if I shared this with you, but I predict that in the next decade, malls are going to become obsolete.
Yeah.
Everybody is so used to getting on Amazon. I'm just as guilty. Get on Amazon. You get online. Huge stores like Macy's and Dillard's have more, even Walmart, have more product, billions of pieces of product online versus what they actually have in the store. You get better deals online. Everybody is now shopping online. But what does that do? If you actually think about the repercussions of not going out to get the things you need, don't go to the grocery store. You don't go to the mall. You don't go buy jeans. You buy everything online. You have your groceries delivered. You buy everything online. What do you think that translates to? That translates to brick and mortar businesses shutting down. They will no longer be accessible to people to actually go and have an experience in a building. And that goes for restaurants as well. How many people actually go out to eat anymore? You get your dinner delivered. You order on Grubhub. You order on DoorDash. It gets delivered to you. You have dinner in the comfort of your own home, watching, no longer going to the movie theater. You're watching a movie on demand that you've paid for, rented. Like, you just don't go out. So yeah, going out and having an experience with another person, having a relationship, looking that person in the eye is an art form that's dying. It really is. I encourage you to do that, people. This weekend.
Get out, people. Get out. Get out. Go show yourselves. Here's to y'all. Thank you for being here.
Good luck in the world. Cheers.
Word.